On the rainiest night Prague had seen in decades, the ornate Baroque opera house stood like a jeweled fortress against the storm. Inside, crystal chandeliers trembled with each thunderclap as the final act of La Traviata was about to begin. The streets outside had become rivers, trapping the elite audience in their velvet seats. No one could leave. No one suspected that by dawn, these gilded walls would witness not just theatrical tragedy, but real murder. In her opulent dressing room, Valentina Rossi prepared for her final performance. The celebrated soprano adjusted her jeweled tiara one last time, unaware that jealous eyes watched from the shadows. Elena, her understudy, lingered in the doorway with a bouquet of white roses. "Break a leg tonight, Valentina," she whispered, though her smile never reached her eyes. Outside, the rain pounded harder, and somewhere in the theater's maze of corridors, death was already drawing near. The orchestra struck the opening chords of Act 3, but their leading lady never appeared. In her dressing room, Valentina Rossi lay motionless among scattered rose petals. A crimson velvet curtain cord wound tight around her throat. Her final aria would never be sung. Thunder crashed overhead as Inspector Kafka was summoned from the storm-lashed streets. The great doors were sealed. Until the floodwaters receded, everyone inside was both audience and suspect. Inspector Kafka's boots echoed through the marble corridors as he surveyed the scene. Water dripped from his coat, but his sharp eyes missed nothing. The killer had been clever. The cord came from the theater's own crimson curtains. "No one leaves until this is solved," he announced to the gathered company. Outside, Prague's streets remained impassable rivers. Inside, 5 people shifted nervously, each harboring secrets darker than the storm-swept night. Pietro's violin trembled in his hands as he spoke of his secret romance with Valentina. They had planned to elope after tonight's performance, to abandon Prague for Vienna where their love could flourish freely. But someone had discovered their plan. Elena watched from the wings, her face a mask of barely controlled fury. She had everything, the understudy whispered, and still she wanted more. The inspector noted how Elena's white gloves bore suspicious dark stains. Maestro Dvořák clutched his manuscript like a drowning man, gripping driftwood. He had written every note for Valentina's voice, shaped each phrase around her breath. When Inspector Kafka examined the score, he found desperate annotations in the margins. "Only for V. No other shall sing these words." The composer's eyes burned with artistic madness. "She was going to leave," he confessed, "abandon my opera for some violinist's shallow promises. I couldn't let her destroy my life's work." Viktor Hauser's hands shook as he revealed the theater's crushing debts. Creditors circled like vultures, threatening to seize his family's legacy. But there was something else, a substantial life insurance policy on his star performer. The inspector discovered the paperwork hidden in Hauser's office safe. Valentina was worth more dead than alive, Kafka mused grimly. Thunder rattled the windows as if the storm itself accused the desperate theater owner of the ultimate betrayal. The mysterious count emerged from the shadows of his private box, his military decorations catching the gaslight. For 20 years he had attended every performance, watching Valentina with an intensity that bordered on madness. But Inspector Kafka's investigation revealed a darker truth. Count Wilhelm was Valentina's father, who had abandoned her mother decades ago. "She never knew," he whispered, his aristocratic facade crumbling. "I came to every show to watch the daughter I could never claim." As dawn approached, Inspector Kafka gathered all suspects in the Grand Theatre. The killer had made one fatal mistake. The velvet cord used showed a distinctive weave pattern that matched only the curtains in Box 7. But it wasn't the Count who was guilty. Elena had stolen into his private box during intermission, taken the cord, and used it to strangle her rival. The stains on her gloves weren't makeup. They were evidence of her desperate crime. "I deserved that role," she screamed as the truth emerged. "I was better than her." By morning, the storm had passed, and Prague's streets were passable once more. Elena was led away in chains, her dreams of stardom dissolved into infamy. The opera house fell silent. Its golden age ended with its greatest star's death. Pietro played a mournful violin solo in the empty theater, his melody echoing through corridors that would never again hear Valentina's voice. Some say that on rainy nights, if you listen carefully, you can still hear her singing from the shadows, a ghost trapped forever in the theatre where love and jealousy wrote their final tragic act.